Hello, you are most welcome. Yeah, it's Henry the computer guy, and in this video, we are going to be working out UNEB subsidiary ICT 2013 paper 3, but our main focus is going to be on a spreadsheet. So without wasting any time, let's dive into the real practice and see how we can work this out. So what we are going to be doing first is to create a folder onto our desktop that is going to be holding our file. And how are we going to do this? We are going to be locating any free space onto our desktop. Right click onto our mouse, come to the option that says new, then we select our folder. And having selected our folder, we are going to be giving it a name. For example, let's call it UNEB 2013 paper 3. So this is the folder that is going to be holding our file. So now down here, I've also designed a question that we are going to be following. Let's look at it. It is UNEB 2013 paper 3, and this is how it is going to be moving. So if at all you don't have this question, I would advise you to visit my channel under the description of this video. Then you'll be able to download this question and follow along with me. So let's begin right away. So the question is telling us that in this question, you are going to be working with a template developed by a certain canteen manager of your school. So they're telling us to study the template and additional information given below. So we have the item, we have the cost price, we have the VAT, we have the profit, we have the item expenses, then lastly, we have the item prices. So we have the additional information here, and they're telling us that VAT is 18% of the item price. So the profit is 20% of the item price. Item expenses are calculated at half of the item price. Then lastly, we have the item prices, which is equivalent to the cost price, plus the VAT, plus the item expenses, plus the profit. So this is the information we are going to be using to fill in the answers that we are going to be putting here. So let's continue with the question down, and they're telling us, let's scroll through and we see. So they're telling us that we have to not use function for part B to part E. And they're telling us that we are going to be entering the above information the way it appears. And we are going to be saving it as canteen template. So we are going to begin with that. Remember, by 2013 support files, we are not in use. So that means that we are going to be opening an empty file. Then we enter this data there. Then we can as well be able to make the changes. So let's do that right away. I'll open my Excel by clicking onto it, and having opened it, we are going to be saving our file into our folder we have just created by coming to the option that says File. Then we come to the option that says Save. So we have to give it a name, which is Canteen Template. But remember, we made our folder onto the desktop. So we are going to be picking the location, which is that desktop. So I'm going to select it here. And having selected it, I'm going to be scrolling down here. Then I look for the folder I've just created, which is UNEB 2013 paper 3. So I'll click on it. Then I click on the option that says Open. Remember, we have to give it a name, and they told us to give it a canteen template. Canteen, we have to give it canteen template. So having written our name, and we have to identify whether we are in our folder. For example, this is UNEB 2013. This is the folder which is open. So we are going to click on the option that says Save. And having saved that, the name is going to appear up here at the title bar. So let's begin with the question and see what they are telling us. We come back to our question, and they're telling us that we have to determine the VAT, we have to determine the profit, we have to determine the item expenses for each item. But remember, they gave us some additional information that the VAT is 18% of the item price. Let's do that first of all. So we come to our file, we have to enter the data first of all. Remember, the data begins with the item, we have the cost price, we have the VAT. So we are going to be first of all entering the data, then we make the calculations as required. So we come back and put the data there. So we begin with the item. Then we come to the second. The second is going to be the cost price, then the VAT tax, cost price. So we have this as the cost price. So we can modify this by enlarging it a little. Then we have the VAT tax. We have the VAT tax. Then we can come back and look at it. We have the profit. We have the profit here. So what I'm going to do is to pause this video and enter the entire information into this worksheet that we are having so that we do not make the video too long. So finally, our data is here. So we are going to be looking at our question to see whether we have everything the way it is. So we are going to come to our question and look at it. So we have the item, but remember this one is up. So we have this one as the cost price, but it was wrapped. So we have the VAT tax also wrapped. Then this is up. We have the item prices. So we have to make the changes as they look like here. So we're going to first of all make these labels as bold. So we come back to our file and highlight them. And having highlighted them, we are going to be clicking onto the option that has the B, or you can press Ctrl plus B to make them bold. So our labels have been made bold. So we come back and look at it again. We look for what we are going to be changing. So we have to make this one the way it appears here. Let's come back to our file. We come and select the cost price. Then we come to the option or tab that says home. Then we wrap the text. We want one word to be below. That is it. It has changed. Then we can do it for the case of also the VAT. We come and wrap the text. Then we come and do it. Let me see the question. We have to do it for the rest of the item expenses also. So we come and click on the item expenses, then we wrap them. So that is what we have. But remember, item was at the top of the cell. So we are going to be coming to the section that has alignment. Then we come and click onto the first one here. So we do that for the profit also. We put it up. We come and also do that with the item price. We put it up. So I think we have this exactly the way it looks like into our question. So this is what we are having, and I think we are now good to go. So the question is saying that we are going to be determining our VAT tax, then we have the profit and the item expenses. But remember, we have that information under the additional information. So we are going to be calculating the VAT as 18% of the item price. Let's do that one. So we come to VAT, which is going to be 18% of the item price. But remember, we have the item price already. So we are going to be using that. And remember, for you to write any function or any formula, you have to begin with an equal sign. So I'm going to be typing my equal sign here. So I'll type equals, then I type the 18% they have told me, 18% of means multiplication. I'm going to be putting the asterisk symbol, then the item price, which is this one. So I'll press enter to get the answer. Then we are going to be filling this one for the rest of the other cells by dragging the fill handle to the rest of the cells. So this one is not included here. Can remove that. So we can just drag that to the rest of the cells. We come back and look at the question. They are telling us that the profit is 20% of the item price. Is 20% of the item price. We do that for the rest of other cells. So we type our equal sign, then we put the 20% of means multiplication, then we have the item price. So we press enter, then we get the answer. So we are dragging the fill handle for the rest of the cells by moving it down just like that up to the samosas. So we come back to another one, and they are telling us that we are going to be calculating the item expenses, which are calculated as half of the item price. So we come back to the item expenses. We type our equal sign there. Then we get the item price. Remember, they told us it has to be half. That means we are going to be dividing it by 2. So we put the division symbol, then we divide by 2. Then we press enter. Having pressed enter, we also have to do it for the rest of the cells. So we are going to drag our fill handle to the last one, just like that. So I think we have calculated those three. So let's look at the question and see what we are supposed to do again. They're telling us that the item price is equivalent to the cost price plus the VAT plus the item expenses plus the profit. But remember, we are going to be looking for the cost price, and the cost price is somewhere in the middle here. So let's first of all go to our sheet and type or write that expression and see how we can find the cost price. So let me put it here. I'm going to be merging some cells here, and I include that information such that we can look at it and see how we can work out together. So I will highlight the cells, then I'm going to be merging them to remove those cells so that I can type my formula when it is visible, or my expression when it is okay. So they have told us that it's item price is going to be equal to the cost price plus the VAT plus the item expenses plus the profit. So this is the expression they give us, but remember we are going to be finding the cost price. Let me highlight this and make it somehow bold. Let me change it to, for example, I can put it to Arial black such that it can be visible. We can highlight this one again because it's the one that we are going to be looking for. I can make it red, just like that. So we want to find the cost price. But remember, we have an expression here that we have item price is equal to the cost price plus the VAT plus the item expenses plus the profit. So what we are going to be doing is to leave the cost price on this side. Then we take the VAT, the item expenses, and the profit to this side. But when they cross the equal sign, they will have to be subtracted from the item price. Let me also merge this one and write another expression. Let me merge them so we can write it again and it will be visible. Let me put it in Arial black. Then I can come and say item price. Now we are going to be bringing VAT to this side, but when it crosses the equal sign, it will have to be a minus. So I would say minus, then I will put them into bracket. So we have the VAT plus we have the item expenses, then plus the profit, which is going to be closing the bracket. Then this will give us what we call the cost price. This will give us the cost price. So this is what we exactly want to find, and we have taken the VAT to this side, we have taken the expenses to this side, we have also taken the profit to this side. That means that we are going to be subtracting them from the item price for us to be able to get the cost price. Let's do this in our formula. So we have gotten the expression, we have to represent this into our sheet. So I'll come to the cost price and say equals. Remember, thereafter that is going to be the item price. I'll look for the item price, which is this minus. We have the minus here. So I'll put my minus, then I'll open the bracket. I put in the VAT. We have the VAT plus. I'll put in the item expenses, again plus the profit. Then we close the bracket, then we press enter. So we have gotten this answer as from the expression given to us in the question. So I think we have calculated all of them. Let's look at another question and see what we are supposed to do. Down here, they are telling us that we are supposed to determine the cost price for each item, and we have determined this. Then determine the total amount for each column. So we come back and determine the total. So we have the label for total down here. That means that we are going to be getting the total for each and every column here. So we will come below these columns. I'll put my equal sign. Then I'll have the sum. Remember, we are going to be adding this one, so we use the summation. I'll double click on it, then come and highlight all of them up to the samosas. So I'll press enter. And having pressed enter, I'm going to be dragging my fill handle to the rest of the cells so that I can be able to get the other values. So that is also done. So we come back to our question again, and we scroll down and see what they are telling us to do again. So they're telling us that assuming that the budget was red and it dropped the item price by 10%, insert a new column, new item price at the end of the table. And after inserting it, we are going to determine the new item price from this. They have told us that it dropped by 10%. So we come back and put the column for new item price. So we click onto our sheet, we come here and put new item price, new item price. So we can come and put our answer here. But remember, the question has told us that this one is supposed to be gotten from the drop of, let's say, the 10% from the item price. So remember, it is supposed to be 100. Let me first put an expression here for you to see. Let me merge the cells, and they have told us that it dropped by 10%, but the total is supposed to be 100. For example, let me say 100%. It's supposed to be 100%. But remember, it dropped by 10%. That means that we are going to be subtracting the 10%. So what do we remain with? We are going to be remaining with 90. So that means that we are going to be using 90% of the item price to get the new item price. So that is it that we are going to be using. So we come back to our sheet here, then we put our equal sign. Remember, we have said that we are going to be using 90 because it dropped by 10%, so the remaining was 90. So I'll write my 90, then percent of means multiplication of the item price for us to get the new price. So I'll press enter, and this is the value they have given us. So I'll drag this to the rest of the cells. We can do this in another way actually. Let's say I'm going to be trying this. I'm going to be removing it. Let me first put it and you see whether it will give us the same answers. I can say new item price, assuming that we are doing it in another way. So it will be giving us that. So let me also merge this one. We'll write it. So we are going to be getting, first of all, the item price. So it will be having the item price. So we can calculate it in this format. Item price, then minus, remember they told us that it dropped by 10%. So we open the bracket, 10% of, we multiply over again the item price. So that is it. So that means that even this one can give us the same answer. We can close the bracket. So we can also merge this one. We make it bigger. We can merge it. Then we can also put it clear. So this is what we can use again. So we have the item price minus 10% of the item price for us to be able to get the same answer the way we have gotten it using the 90%. So here we have used the 90, and here we can use this expression to get the same answer. Let's try it and see. So that means that we can put our equal sign. We come and get the item price. Again, minus into bracket, which is the drop, which was the 10%. So we shall have our 10% of, again, the item price, which is this. Then we close our bracket and press enter. So it gives us the same answer. So you can use any of the two to get these answers. So that is another way we can use to get this. So it was just a by the way. I'm going to be removing it because we don't need it. Let me just delete them. So it was just a by the way. So we continue with our question. Then they are telling us that we are going to be let your figures be formatted to UGX currency symbol. We come and format all our figures. So we will highlight them, and having highlighted all our figures, we are going to be right clicking. Then we come to the option that says format cells, and having clicked there, we are going to give it some time. Then we come to the option that says currency. Then we come and pick the symbol. They told us UGX, so we are going to be coming here, then type U. They will take us where we have values or characters that start with U. Then we can scroll down and click on the UGX. Then we have no decimal places, we leave it at 0. So we come and say OK. So having put that, our values have been formatted with the UGX, but you're seeing that some of the values are having hash. What does hash mean? It means that the column is not wide enough for these figures to fit there. So we are going to be enlarging them a little. So I'll drag this a little. I'll drag this a little. I'll drag this a little, then even this one. But remember, this one was wrapped, so we can separate these words a little such that the word goes back to where it was, just like that. So let's look at our question again and see how we can continue. And they're telling us that we're going to be representing the item expenses, item prices, and the new item prices onto an appropriate line chart. So let's do that and see. So we are highlighting this, and highlight this. So we want to represent these three items onto a line chart. So what you're going to do is to come and highlight the first one. But remember, when you come and highlight the second, the other one is going to be deselected. What can we do to hold them at the same time? Having highlighted the first one, you're going to press your control button, hold down the control button, come and select the second that you want, hold down the control button, come and select the third that you want to represent there. So we can take this as to be represented on our chart. So you're going to come to the option that says insert, then you come and pick the line chart. So you can pick any of these ones. I'm going to be selecting the first one, and that is how it will look like. So this is what I have as my line chart. So I can make it a little bit smaller for it to fit here. And remember, any chart has to be having a title, so you can put a title there, you can put the axis there. It depends on how the question wants you to formulate it. So let's look at the question and see what they're telling us to do. So they're telling us that insert a centered header of your name and personal number. But before we do this, let's make some changes onto our chart. We can put a title by clicking onto our chart, then come to the option that says layout, then we pick the chart title. We can put it, let's say, above. So that means that I can come and put my title here. Let's say a chart, a line chart showing, let's say, item expenses, comma, item price, and new item price. So we can make this smaller for it to fit there by highlighting it, then come to the home tab, then we can reduce its size for it to fit there. Then we can as well move it a little bit there. So we can as well put our title just like that. We can as well put our axis, for example, the vertical and the horizontal. It depends on how the question wants you to formulate them. So for example, I can come back to the layout, then come onto the option that says axis title. So you can come and pick the one for horizontal, then below, then you write what you want to write here. For example, you can put the item expenses, item prices, and new item prices. Then you can come to the vertical by coming again to the axis, then you pick the vertical, then you can as well select, let's say, the vertical. So you can come and also write here what you want. For example, this is, let's say, if I say currency or money, it depends on how the question wants you to frame it. Then here you can as well come and remove this, then you can say item, let's say, expenses, let's say, item price, and a new item price. So that is it that we have. So it looks fine now when we have it labeled. And at times they can as well tell you to make some changes on this other options. For example, they want the legends. For example, they can have the data labels. So you can always change their directions or positions depending on how the question talks about it. So let me come and put this one aside here. So that's where we can put it. I can make this one a little bit smaller such that we can be able to see everything. So we make this one bigger for our information to fit there, just like that. Move this one a little bit for the information to be visible. Then even move this one a little bit for the information to be visible. Then remember, we can push this one a little bit down for it to be wrapped the way it was in the beginning. Then we come back to our question. What is it saying? It's telling us to put or insert the header of our name and personal number. So we come back here, we come to the option that says insert, then come and pick either the header or footer section. Remember, we have 3 of them. You can put it either on the left, in the center, and on the right. But the question was specifying the center. So I can say Henry, let's say 001. Then if you wanted to put the footer, you would go down, scroll down, then you come and also add the footer to this section, either on the left or in the middle or on the right. And having done that, we can click in any cell, then come down here and click on the normal so that it can take us back to where our work is. So we can even put borders onto our work by highlighting this information. And remember, if you don't put borders onto this work, these lines are not going to come out when you print your information. So it is always a must for you to put the borders onto your work. So you'll highlight them, and having highlighted them, you'll come to the Home tab, then come and pick the borders, then you come and say All Borders. So the borders are now on our work. So let's look at the next question and see. They're telling us that we have to name our worksheet as income statement. So we come back to our sheet and do that. So whenever you want to rename your sheet, you'll come down here where you have the name that says sheet, right click onto it and come to the option that says rename. Then we can put our income statement, just like that. So whenever you want to add another sheet, you can always come to this plus symbol and you'll be good to go. So let's look at the question and we conclude. They're telling us that we can print our work. And whenever you want to print your work, this is the work that you're having, you can as well be able to print it. Just come to the option that says file, then come to the option that says print. And they will display the information the way it will appear onto your page. But at times, this information is going to be exceeding this page. You can always be able to play with it, for example, by changing the layout or by changing the orientation to either portrait or landscape, depending on how your page is displayed on how the question tells you to do that. Then after that, you'll come and choose the number of copies that you want to print. Choose the type of printer you're going to be using. You can either choose to print active sheets. You can put ranges of the pages you want to print either on one side or both sides. It depends on how the question will be telling you the sizes of the page. You'll be able to pick them all from here. And that is exactly how you can work with this. Let's go back to our sheet. So this is the information that we have done, and this wasn't part of it, so we can now remove it. We just used it to find what we exactly wanted to calculate for the cost price. So I can delete this one. Then I can put back this sales. I can also come and delete this, then put back the sales. I can remove this and put back the sales. Then I can also remove this and put back the sales, just like that. So this is what exactly I had for you. It's been Henry the Computer Guy, and if at all you're new to my channel, please don't forget to click the subscribe button and the notification bell to always be notified when I upload a new video. Bye bye, I sign out.